Hi guys, gsmnom.com, and I'm here with the Nokia Lumia 520. I know it's a bit late with its review, but better late than never. This model is famous for single-handedly making the Windows Phone operating system popular again. It has sold a ton of units all over the world, and the Nokia Lumia 520 is a handset that I'm going to review over the following minutes. And I have to say, from what I've heard, this is the best-selling Windows Phone 8 device ever. In case you're wondering about the price tag, this product is priced at about $59 at the Microsoft Store. It's an incredible price, and it would be a pity not to get this model. It was announced in February, it was launched in April, and now let's talk about the design just a little bit. As you can see, it's a bit of a bulky phone. It measures 9.9mm in thickness, it weighs 124 grams, and its edges are slightly sloped. You can well see here. The surface of the back cover is matte, it's not glossy. We'll also get a pretty good grip from this texture right here, and also pretty good one-hand use. Moving around all those styles can be done as a breeze. Okay, so moving even further with the design. Once you remove this case right here, you're going to need big fingernails to do that. I don't have big fingernails, but you probably saw in the unboxing, so knew what to expect. Right here we got a battery that we must remove in order to access the microSD and microSIM card slot. You can also buy new back covers with different colors like yellow or red. And keep in mind that once you remove this back cover, it's very easy to actually lose those buttons because they may fall apart. So keep that in mind when playing with the case. Other things important to mention here is that the buttons on the side, they offer a good feedback to the user. Those physical buttons right here, they're plasticky. You also get the usual capacitive buttons below the display. And this is a pretty nice design, especially since it's slightly different from the usual Fabula design that Nokia applies to its handsets. As far as hardware goes, we got a 4-inch screen right here, 4-inch diagonal. It's an IPS LCD with a resolution of 480 over 800 pixels. We got a CPU that's a dual-core Qualcomm MSM8227 1GHz unit, and other stuff for mentioning, the Adreno 305 GPU, 8GB of storage complemented by a microSD card slot, and apparently that microSD card slot is able to support up to 64 extra gigs. The RAM is 512 megabytes. There is a 5 megapixel camera at the back without flash. There is no front camera here. We got on the connectivity side all the nifty options that include the quad band GSM, GPRS Edge, HSDPA with 21 megapsecond connectivity, Wi-Fi, GPS, and GLONASS. There is also active noise cancelling, an accelerometer, and the proximity sensor and FM radio. The battery we have right here is a lithium-ion unit with a capacity of 1430 mAh. On paper it should provide 360 hours of standby time, 14 hours of talk time, 61 hours of music. Well, in my test, that you can see has been captured here in a variety of situations, I have to say that with medium brightness and Wi-Fi on, and brightness at about 50%, we scored 3 hours and a half of continuous HD playback with this battery. So remember, if you go to the settings, look out for brightness, set it up on medium, and if you want to watch movies, this battery is going to last 3 hours and a half of continuous HD playback. So I have to say that this battery capacity is not bad at all. Plus you have that power saving options in the settings area. Here we go, battery saver on. You can turn it on when the battery gets low. There's also an advanced area for you to set up your battery saver and an estimation of how long it will last. By the way, the battery charges in about 2 hours, which is pretty okay. Overall, it's a decent battery, and I should remind you that the Nexus 5 gave us about 4 hours of playback, and this one gives us 3 hours and a half of playback, so I'm more than happy with that. Personally, I've been using the phone for music, phone calls, SMS and email, and it lasted about 2 days of use, so as I said, happy with that. Now, as far as the music goes, I'm going to go to Xbox Music, listen to this tune. Speaker right here. So the first thing you notice is the loud volume. It's actually impressive for such an affordable phone. You spend $59 on it and the volume is loud. The speaker quality is good, there's no distortion. However, bundled with the device, we've got what I would call a bunch of cheap headphones. Cheap because of the material they're made of, and actually they're huge. If you have a smaller ear like I do, those will not fit in your ear. But frankly speaking, the acoustic experience is nice, so if you can ignore the design, you should be happy with them. So overall, I like the acoustics both of the headphones and of the speaker at the back. The speaker, as you heard, slightly bugged. As you can see here, right here, the speaker may look small, but in fact it's pretty powerful when you're listening to music. Now there is that redundancy of software we got here. We got Xbox Music here, showing us your music organized by artist, albums, songs, playlists and such. And then there's Nokia Music for the sake of redundancy. Probably just to stand apart from Xbox Music. I guess they're going to fuse into each other, dissolve, and one of them will disappear. Probably Nokia Music, since Nokia was bought by Microsoft after all. Got my music, we got your settings right here. And let's try not to play this so we won't have any copyright issues. You can also see the cover right here of the tune you're playing and audio settings area right here. That's what I wanted to show you. It's only the enhancements available here. You can flip to silence, and that's pretty much everything you can do on this handset. I was expecting some equalizer settings, but no, only flip to silence available here. So no equalizer, which is pretty unimpressive if you ask me. As I said, I'm very impressed by both the speaker and the headphones as far as quality goes, as far as volume goes. The voice in the songs is very good. As you saw, I was listening to Pussifer and I was very happy with the volume of the singer's voice and the clarity. We also have FM radio, by the way. So plug in the headphones, go into Xbox Music yet again, and here we go, radio. You can change the station however you want to. Select your favorite station and you should be listening in no time. Okay, so that was it in the audio department. I'm very satisfied with the audio experience of this device. Once again, a cheap phone but not cheap audio. Okay, now on the video side of things, once again in the same app, Xbox Music plus videos, I'm going to check out the list of videos I have available here. I'm going to use some samples taken with a previous phone. I chose it because it's colorful. Here we go. This is a 4-inch screen, resolution 480 over 800 pixels. It doesn't have clear black technology, in case you're wondering. It's got poor contrast, you'll see that in full sunlight. The colors are vivid, slightly oversaturated, but the screen is pretty bright. The view angles are decent from the side, but not very good vertically, as you can see. So decent from the sides, but not good vertically. Okay, now let's turn it on again. And other things worth mentioning here is that the clarity is good, no objection here. There is a slight backlight bleed. You really have to be picky to see that. If you look closely to that upper edge here, there is a slight backlight bleed, but it might just be the unit I'm testing right here. And another thing worth mentioning, sometimes when I turn off the screen, the backlight will remain turned on for a few seconds and only then will be turned off, but that's a random issue and I cannot show it on video because it happens only sometimes. There's also a special area for the settings of the display. So let's find it. Display plus touch. We got sunlight readability, which is a cool option to have, battery saver brightness, and Lumia color profile. You can adjust your own preferences for color saturation, color temperature, for a more natural or vivid color, or a cooler or warmer temperature if that's your thing. So you can get rid of the oversaturation I will be mentioning in the video and picture area. Overall, it's a decent screen, exactly what you're expecting for a sub $100 handset. Now in the camera area, I'm going to need a little bit of a muse, this car right here. And starting the camera, I'm going to use the camera button, the physical one here. Don't expect a huge speed when it comes to opening up the app, so I'm going to take a quick pic. As you can see, it takes a lot of seconds to actually pull that pic. This is what I did earlier. A lot of noise, but frankly speaking, quite decent. When you look at it properly on your PC, you'll see that you're actually getting a decent shot right here. Okay, so let's talk about the camera. It's a 5 megapixel shooter, this one, with a resolution of 2592 pixels over 1936. It's got autofocus available. And the sensor size is 1/4 of an inch. The video is taken in 720p, 30 frames per second. There is no flash, there is a 4x zoom and 28mm focal length. We got the same old interface you're used to and the same old settings that include scenes with a close-up option and a night option. That's pretty cool. Then we got ISO, exposure value, white balance and aspect ratio. And in the video section, once again, white balance, continuous focus and maximum filming quality in 720p. And also we got the familiar system of lenses, which are basically apps that you can add to your camera experience. We got Bing Vision, Nokia SmartCam, Cinemagraph and Panorama. Panorama is the obvious feature of taking a picture with a bigger size than usual, a panoramic picture. Nokia SmartCam I will detail later. Bing Vision is all known from other devices. Cinemagraph basically create a GIF. And let's see. So we start with Nokia SmartCam. What SmartCam does is take a bunch of pictures. So the idea is to hold the phone steady as you're advised here. Press the shutter button. And you will take multiple pictures that you can either use to choose your best shot. If it's got faces in it, choose the best face, or you can remove a moving object if that's the case. It takes a long time to actually pull all the shots, choose between them and all that, since this is a lower end device, but you get the idea. That's the purpose of the Nokia SmartCam option. Okay, continuing, I'm going to show you some of the samples here. So let's get rid of the car. One thing I must say is that close-ups actually look nice. Got a bunch of samples here. You may expect this camera to be poor, but it's actually quite decent. This is a panorama, by the way. Doesn't look bad at all. Of course, you're going to be seeing this in a lot of detail on our website when the review will be published. The colors are pretty vivid, as you can see. All these pictures were taken with this 5 megapixel camera. The close-ups look nice, panorama looks nice, we got good colors. There's a slight bit of noise hanging around, especially if you start to zoom in on the pictures. Cinemagraph will animate part of a picture, in case you're wondering, and the pictures look overall nice for such a handset price. The video also looks decent, so let's try to play this one with the ducklings. Also shot with the phone. The bitrate is 10 mega per second, 30 frames per second. We got mono sound, and the level of detail is not that good. Don't expect to hear much sound here. I liked one thing about this camera, especially the video. I like how it's setting up its exposure in both the videos and pictures. It had a very good way of setting up the perfect exposure for certain situations. So let's also see this one. Overall, it's a very nice camera. Considering you're spending 50 bucks on it, on the handset, you're actually getting your money's worth. I'm sure an Android phone with a 5 megapixel camera and no flash wouldn't be this good. So as I said, check out how the camera changes the exposure in a proper way, which you won't see on similarly priced devices. So once again, Nokia strikes gold with this handset. It's no wonder it's sold so well, thanks to the price and other aspects. Now, as far as the phone call area is concerned, well, we got your usual people here in the area with what's new, a list of contacts. And in case you're wondering about actual phone calling ability, the signal is good, the volume is good. As you can see, I'm at full bars all the time, and I have to say I'm actually at full bars all the time. I never lost signal, and the call quality is decent. I can hear that person on the other side well, and the person on the other side hears me perfectly, although sometimes they may complain about slight volume problems. We got noise cancelling here on this device, and now it's time to check out the web browser. This is the usual mobile version of Internet Explorer. and we're loading up gsndon.com right now. It's not a very fast web browser, but it's okay. I've seen worse web browsers, but I've seen faster web browsers. The pinch to zoom seems to work just fine on this small screen. I was expecting a slight lag and I was surprised to see that it actually works flawlessly. Let's see it in landscape as well. gsndon.com, bookmark it, remember it. So that's it as far as the web browsing experience goes. I'm happy with it, although the web page could have opened just a bit faster. Now, as far as the benchmarks are concerned, I'm going to access the albums and show you some screenshots of the benchmarks we've taken on this device. So I have decided to compare this model with some Lumias and HTC that I have reviewed over the year. As you can see, in Antutu we scored 7,236 points. We beat the HTC 8S and it's 6,600 points. And we got beaten by the Lumia 920 with its 10,000 points. Browser Mark 2.0 score is 1431. We actually were very close to the HTC 8S and it's 1465 points. And we got beaten by the Lumia 820 with its 1717 points. In SunSpider, okay, here we are. Pretty low score, and by low, the higher the worst score. So a high score is the worst available here. We got 1431 here with the Lumia 520, while the HTC 8S scored 1415, so the lower the better, and the Lumia 820 900, so we got beaten by both models. So far so good, not the worst results. And finally we got WP Bench. We scored 176 points, very close to the HTC 8S with its 180 points, and very close to the Lumia 720 with its 179 points. So after all, we're holding up pretty nice with its low-end phone. I wasn't expecting much from it, but it holds up pretty decently. You know the drill when it comes to Windows Phone. You've seen our other reviews. You'll get your apps from the Windows Phone store with a special section for apps from Nokia. A lot of games here and a lot of apps. You get your resizable tiles, this medium, small and large, just like the fries, and then you got your other options available here. You got your people hub concentrating all your calls, recent, and your rooms. So if you're familiar with the Windows Phone experience, you should feel at home. And now for the pre-installed apps, we got your usual Angry Birds Roost, app highlights from Nokia. If you're a first-time user of a Nokia phone, you may want to have a look here. You'll be suggested some interesting applications here. Of course, you have to update the app. Apparently it has changed its name or something like that. Okay, continuing the list, we got a bunch of other apps here. Calculator, calendar, camera, Cinematograph that makes GIFs, Creative Studio that you can actually use to edit pics. So if I chose this picture right here and get a bunch of filters to apply, let's say I'm using aquamarine, and a bunch of other options like focus object, radial or tilt shift. Okay, you can also do a color pop, collage, adjust color balance, brightness, clarity, vibrance, and you can actually feel those tweaks in real time, which is pretty cool. Let's check out the color pop. You can tap the areas you want to color, only the car, only the gray, and stuff like that. Okay, so that was the Nokia Creative. As you can see, the Nokia highlights has turned into App Social. Everything is changing. Let's see App Social. Nokia has the habit of changing the app names pretty frequently. Okay, skip. Let's see what they got to show us. We got chess, we got an app from Sony, YouTube, Angry Birds, and a few other Minion Rush games to play. Okay, continuing the list of apps, you probably want to see the added value of the navigation app. We got here Drive and here Maps available. Here Drive comes with free lifetime voice guided navigation. He's looking for GPS right now. You can set a destination, recent destinations, favorites, save location, check out the settings, speed limit warning, navigation voice, units, route settings, some map options, landmarks, colors, orientation, manage maps. Still one of the best solutions out there. And recent destinations, nothing here yet. So let's look for something. Okay, final destination. Ferries, toll boats, tunnels, save as default. You can start navigating and get your directions like this. 3D interface that's easy to master, easy to look around. You can see gas stations and other landmarks here. So an excellent driving experience with the kilometers, time and stuff like that. I can't say that from the last Windows Phone device I've reviewed things have changed, so they haven't changed. We got here maps for more common usage of maps, not guidance. Just looking around, finding landmarks. This is where we are. You can get directions, download maps, check out some of the settings, zoom controls. There's also the option to find places nearby, like stores, a lot of landmarks on the map. You can also have some of them with reviews, which is pretty good if you want to access a restaurant or other stuff like that. Then you got your gaming section with the Xbox games, recommendations, titles connected to the ones on the Xbox console, and so forth. And let's see what else. Hotmail for your email, Nokia Care, Nokia Music, Nokia SmartCam. For your office needs, you probably know the drill. The full package with document files to tweak and create. Options like these ones. You can go to chapters. You can edit stuff. Some options for the fonts, highlights, font color. You can also play with spreadsheets and presentations. Once again, just like on the average Windows Phone device that you saw so far, nothing has changed here. Okay, and then we also got one note available here. From what I can see, the battery has went into power saving mode, and you can see that the brightness has decreased a bit. So it's got that special dim feeling to it. If you stop the battery saving, you can see that it's brighter yet again. Okay, continuing the list of apps we have it here, it's Photo Beamer, the one that beams the photos from your handset screen to another handset, the store, transfer my data, wallet, and finally the benchmarks I've installed. So these are all the options you can play with on this device. Nothing different from the other Nokia Lumias. You aren't actually missing anything from the other Nokia Lumia phones, maybe aside from a few cool camera app and maybe a few uncompatible games. Okay, now for the final verdict, for the pros and cons. On the pro side, obviously, the presence of a micro SD card slot is very nice, with a very good audio, very solid audio. Speaking of solid, we have a pretty solid build of this device. It feels like you can take a drop or two. The low price, obviously, huge selling point. And a decent battery, 3 hours and a half of playback, good camera, considering, and some nice apps to play with. Finally, on a small phone like this, they're welcome. And in the con side, well, no camera flash, no front camera, the screen backlight bleed here at the top, poor contrast, and a slow web browser, and that's pretty much it. So not many defects available here. Now for design, we give the Nokia Lumia 520 a 9 out of 10, just because you need to remove the battery to access the slots, and it's hard to remove this shell if you don't have nails. Then for the hardware, an 8.7 out of 10, and it loses points for the screen, the flash, and the front camera lack of it. Finally, for the operating system and user interface, an 8.5 out of 10. I usually give smaller grades to Windows Phone devices, but this one is an exception because it has cool apps in a small and cheap package. This is an excellent buy for this price, and the final grade is 8.73 out of 10 for the Nokia Lumia 520. Considering in US it's $59, I'm going to give it a grade that's 70 points higher. It's 9.5 out of 10 for this model. So for Europe, the grade is 8.73 out of 10 for the bigger price, and for USA with the $59 price, it's 9.5 out of 10 for the Nokia Lumia 520. An excellent buy for today's modern handsets. That's from gsm.com. Bye bye.